Your Power Lunch. As you know, we record these calls and place our recordings on our YouTube channel. So if you don't want to be recorded, you may want to drop off now. And I'm going to hand it over to Kumar. Kumar, floor is yours, man. Take it away.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kumar Alamraju. I'm one of the cloud solutions architects here in Microsoft. So today I will be talking about one of the new services that we introduced and is available as part of Azure AI Foundry. So before I talk about the subject of the topic, which is AI agent service, I'm hoping most of you are familiar with our Azure AI Foundry. I assume so. Just give me a thumbs up if you do. But this is the entry point. If you head over to our Azure portal, hopefully you can see this. You'll find this in Azure AI portal. So this is the entry point for all your AI needs in Azure. So that's where we will be consolidating all the AI services, whether you name it, you'll find it, including the Azure OpenAI, the model catalog, including all the AI services, content safety, quota management and whatnot. So this is where we're asking all the customers. Most of them are already familiar, but if not, this is where you would like to start. So I thought I would first show this to you, whether it's Azure machine learning that you are working on, or I wanted to explore some of the open source LLMs and everything. So that's where you'll find it. Okay. So, so today I'll be talking about the agentic AI. That is some sort of a buzzword lately, right? We kind of started off with the chatbots, the chat models, and then we kind of enhanced it to the assistants, and now it's all about the agents in the AI. So today, most of the organizations, turn to the Microsoft to accelerate their business results and empower their teams, right? Well, this is great. There has been a huge momentum with all the large language models in the last year or two, right? We have seen customers sharing their success stories, and they have seen huge productivity gains. But that's good and bad in the sense that while large language models have shown remarkable productivity gains, some organizations still continue to encounter some significant challenges. That's why I mentioned, I'm thinking beyond the chat model, right? I ask a question, they give me an answer, but it's now things have progressed from the basic and the chatbot model, right? That's where, especially when you are dealing with the complex, time-consuming workflows, right? But at the same time, they wanted to look in terms of minimal process changes, huge automation. That's where AI agents have proven to be a great fit to automate some of those complex workflows. But developing those workflows is one thing, but then you need to host it, you need to deploy it, right? That suits your large scale production environments. Uh, and not only that, writing is one thing, deploying is one thing. The second thing is you need to make sure you are working on a framework where you can securely tightly integrate with several other tools, which I'll talk about what I mean by those integration platforms and the tools, right? At the same time, you need to ground your data within your organization. That could be some of your proprietary data or organizational data, right? So there's a lot of things about data privacy, challenges, and more importantly, all these things are great, but at the same time, I need to make sure uh, I have full visibility into the cost that I'm working on, especially with these AI stuff or large language models, right? That's where Microsoft has taken a innovative step in terms of delivering a service. That's where last year in the Microsoft Azure Ignite conference, we have introduced a new feature called Azure AI Agent service. Uh, so there are few things that I would like to talk about, right? So one of the things that AI agent service, that it's obviously a managed service from Azure. Like all the services that we release from the day one, we have a lot of past services in Azure. So this is going to be one of the managed services that is available within AI Foundry, but it allows customers or developers to, obviously securely, build. When I say security, it's only visible to you within your organization and deploy at large scale deployments with extensive AI toolkit, right? And I'll talk about what I mean by the AI agents and the orchestrators. One thing that I would like to call out here is flexible model selection. So the beauty of AI agent services in the past, when you guys worked on some of the Azure OpenAI models or assistants, you can only pick one model that is pretty much an Azure OpenAI, right? Whether it's a GPT-4o, GPT-4o mini, and whatnot. But as you work on these complex workflows, there are times you will be dealing with multiple LLMs. That could be Azure OpenAI, or it could be anything like from Meta, Llama, or Mistral, or whatnot. So that's where we have a huge model catalog available in AI Foundry. So you could write an agent, and each agent could be leveraging a different model, right? So that's where we give a huge flexibility in terms of this new service. Now, let me also talk about what I mean by use case agnostic, right? So in the context of an Azure AI service, whenever I say use case agnostic, it could be applied to just not one domain. It will be multiple domains or multiple problems that you'll be dealing with, and it's not limited to a specific task. For example, good old customer support agent or a data analysis agent, right? But it could be used to build agents that perform a wide range of tasks, from a simple chatbot to the complex tasks. It could be multiple steps, multiple iterations. That's where we mean by use case agnostic. And why do we call use case agnostic? Because it comes with several benefits. One of it is obviously flexibility, right? Where you could develop a service that can be adapted to different domains or industries. Common example could be healthcare, finance, or retail, for that matter, anything, right? And you'll be able to reuse the same across different projects or applications for that matter. And I'll talk about data connections and the trust in the subsequent slides. But the whatever service that we develop, it's always comes with full trust model, and it's fully available for all the enterprise readiness. So that's where you get to see full visibility in terms of where the data is flowing, what do you see, the insights and whatnot. That's where you get to see within the AI Foundry itself, right? And in terms of the data connections, I'll talk about in the next slide. Okay, so what is an Azure AI agent, right? So in the context of Azure or in the AI Foundry, an AI agent is nothing but some sort of a microservice, right? That can be used to answer your questions, or in the context of RAG, where it will be connected to your for example, organizational data or corporate data. But essentially, it could perform some simple to complex action in the form of workflows. And this can be achieved by combining the power of large language models that is available in our model catalog, that allows you to interact with a lot of real-time data resources. It could be, for example, AI, Azure AI search. It could be some third-party integration tools. For example, if you are developing a workflow, a travel agent workflow, it could be connecting to some third-party services like TripAdvisor and whatnot. So those are all the things that we will be able to leverage using a AI agent. Now, there are also something like AI orchestrators, and we will not have much time to talk about AI orchestrators today. But if you have, some of you might have heard some things like AI workflows like a semantic kernel or an autogen or langgen. Recently some of some things from our Llama or Google, right? So those are some of the orchestrators. Now, why do we need orchestrators? Because an orchestrator is something that can dispatch some sort of these workflows and able to interact with it, right? Because it's easy to write different workflows, but how do you glue them, right? And that's what these orchestrators do. For example, one of the popular orchestrator is semantic kernel, which I am hoping to talk in the one of the future sessions. But in the interest of time, today I'll be focusing more on the Azure AI managed service that will allow us to deploy these simple to complex agent at scale. Okay. And one of the nice things about the Azure AI agent service is you will be you can write the code using OpenAI SDKs because the backbone is still using the same protocol, or you will be able to use Azure AI Foundry SDKs, which I'll show you in a moment when I give you the demo. But the way I would like you guys to see this is see AI agent as some sort of a microservice that's available in our AI Foundry portal, or you'll be developing using Python and a C hash and whatnot. You will be able to leverage the SDKs. It could be OpenAI or AI Foundry agents. Okay. And most importantly, at the end of the day, when you are building a real world application, you will have to deal with the at scale, enterprise scale. That's where you don't have to really worry about the compute storage and whatnot, because you will be leaving that up to Azure to manage that scale. All you have to do is focus on developing the workflow, or plug it in using the orchestrators like semantic kernel and whatnot. Okay, so this is the thing that we always have it. If you recall, we kind of first started off with, let me just quickly share. So initially, when we first started off, we kind of started this with, chat completions, as you could see in the diagram, right? So you just install an OpenAI and just take the Azure OpenAI, just a few lines of code, you just do this, right? After that, we kind of progressed into these OpenAI assistants from from OpenAI, and then we kind of made this available into Azure OpenAI assistants, right? In this, it has some flexibility which allows you to use a code interpreter, or maybe allows you to use some file assistants and whatnot, right? Now, the Azure OpenAI Assistant is an enhanced version of OpenAI Assistants that allows you to do much more complex things. And one of the things will be like when you use this RAG, you will be able to ground your data using Bing, or you'll be able to upload your local data using file search, store it in Azure storage. You will be able to index your data using our AI search. And very recently we have introduced Fabric too, which I haven't had a chance to fully explore it, right? So and then we will continue to expand these knowledge tools in the AI agent service too. And there is another thing called action tools. So that's where some of these things come, where you could use code interpreters to analyze the data or write a code, or now you'll be able to leverage these Azure functions. You have written a code to execute a specific task, so you'll be able to invoke logic apps or Azure functions, and these are some of those OpenAI defined tools. So this is a work in process, and I anticipate that you'll continue to see more of these knowledge tools and action tools as the time goes by. Okay. So now we are just giving you guys a full enterprise package with this service. One is obviously, most of the customers that we work with, they want it to be securely connect from their on-premises network where nothing is visible to the external world. So you can bring your own virtual network, you can bring your storage, you can configure private endpoints, whatever service that you use in Foundry, you can just securely connect, log the public access. So that's what we mean by giving you full control on terms of networking and security, right? And then the next one is obviously the flexibility, where You can use Azure OpenAI models, and we'll continue to add more as and when OpenAI releases it. Alternatively, you can use any of the open source models that are available in our model catalog, right? And each agent could use a different model depending upon the use case. And the next one is obviously the skills that I talked about in the previous slides. You will be able to leverage Azure resources like Azure Functions or Logic Apps to execute a specific task, or you will be able to leverage SharePoint or Bing or AI Search and whatnot, right? So I have 10 minutes. I'll quickly scan through, right? So this is what it is. So all it requires is a few steps, right? You create an instance of an agent. So what is an agent, right? And then in the context of agent, it is just some sort of an orchestrator that initially interacts with the user. And then once you create an agent, you create the first step is to create an agent. Let's say some travel planning agent in this use case. After creating an agent, that's where you specify the model, the instructions, that what kind of model you'll be using, the instruction and whatnot. You'll create a thread. Essentially, it's representing some sort of a mask between a user and the model, or for that matter, the agent. What is it you're asking and what is it you wanted to accomplish? Now, that could be in the form of using your RAG data in the form of a code interpreter or Bing search grounded and whatnot. And based on the task, we will spin up different threads. And one thread could be based on the user's ask, it could be booking a hotel or it could be some sort of different thing. Again, this is a simple use case, but in the real world, you will be developing much more complex processes. But I just wanted to just give you an idea of how these things will play out whenever you create an agent, thread, and agent, right? Okay, so this is what I was showing you earlier. When we first started off, you know, sorry. So when we first started off, we came up with this chat completions API stuff, which allows you to just specify the Azure OpenAI model and then start chatting with it. And this was good for simple conversations, some sort of a chatbot model. And then last year we introduced Assistants API. So this was good in terms of developing some sort of a stateful agents, but we were also able to leverage some integrations like Azure AI Search and whatnot, right? But that's why I said this the Azure AI Agent service is some sort of enhanced version of Assistants API, but it comes with some additional features. When I say additional features, it will give you a lot of flexibility in terms of choosing your own model, and you'll be able to ground the data using Bing search. But I think we will be adding Fabric and everything, which I haven't had a chance to fully explore. But I'm hoping I can talk about it in the future. And then you will be able to leverage our Azure services. It could be Azure function that we have already written to execute a specific task that you'll be able to leverage from your agent service code, right? And then, as I said, from the day one, we focus on fully secure environment where you can log down with public access, and that way you can securely connect on private endpoints from your on a corporate network. Okay, so let me head over to the Azure portal and show you how this is gonna look like, right? So your entry point is, hope you can see my screen. Your entry point is Azure portal, right? So you'll first come here, you'll create a hub and project. So in this case, I have already created a project where I created deployment of Azure OpenAI with the GPT-4o and whatnot. So I'm hoping most of you are familiar with this interface. Uh, but here what you'll see is I have already deployed uh, uh, a model with GPT-4o, and then I have my embedding model. I have connected to AI search and whatnot if I'm using RAG data. Okay. But today we are talking about the agent. So this is where you'll find, sorry. So this is where you will find the Azure AI service. This is still in a public preview. Um, so all you have to do is you just come here, you create a new agent, right? Just give a custom name, whatever you want it is. Select your deployment, which you already create beforehand, and then you pick one of these, right? The same concept here that we do is, and this is where I was talking about the knowledge tools. Here you can use different knowledge tools. Right now we allow you to upload the data from your local laptop, or you'll be able to, index the data using AI search, or you can certainly do so. And I think we recently introduced connectivity with the Trip server, and I'm hoping we'll continue to expand this list as the time goes by. Okay. But there's also something like action tools, and that is where you'll be able to leverage some of these the Azure things like Azure function you have it, or some of these custom functions. Now, obviously, you won't be able to use the Azure portal, but when you are working on the code, then you'll be able to invoke the Azure functions. That's what we say. This functionality is not available directly out of the Foundry, but you'll be able to leverage using Python SDKs. Okay. So again, nobody will really use this. This is just for a quick demonstration, right? People just use it. But essentially, if you wanted to just upload some data, I have something that I'll be leverage it, which we do not typically use it, but it's just for demonstration purposes. It is as simple as just creating a new agent, upload your data, and then start playing with it. So here, this is my local data that I have played with it just to uh, 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 see the value of how it is. And then once you have created an agent name, selected the model, and then you just play with it, right? So this is what you have to say. That's all. But this is just this is just to talk about things. And if you see, this is just pulling up from your local data. That's what we mean by, giving you the references to these benefits and whatnot. Um, but do you really use this as you move towards building the real world applications? No. This is just to give you a low code, no code experience that you can play with it, right? And here, if you look at the code, it talks about how it creates an instance of an agent and thread and then run. So these are the three steps that you need to keep in mind. One is you create an agent, you create a thread, and then you create a message. That's where you will pass on this the model that you will be using and everything, and then run with it. Period. Right. Now let me head over to the code that you will be really using it. So we have built some of the samples. I would highly encourage you guys to take a look at it. So hopefully you guys can see my screen still. So if you see this, so the first thing you will do, this is a notebook that can get demonstrated. The first thing you do in Python is obviously you load your packages, right? This is my environment file where I'm getting my model deployment key and all those things, right? So keep this ready, and then all you have to do is here. The first thing you have to do is create a connection. This is what I'm saying, create an agent, right? What does the agent do? It takes the model that you plan to use. This could be one of the open source models that you have deployed in model cat in Azure OpenAI catalog, or it could be anything, right? So this is the first thing you will do, create an agent. And then after creating an agent, you create a thread. And the thread could be, and then finally you create a message of what exactly you want this thread to do, right? And after this, you are going to run on this top of it. So these are the three steps that you will have to we have to follow anytime you build a workflow, right? And again, this is something that you will have to uh, you know focus on building this as you work on the Python SDKs. So as I run this, it is actually a RAG agent which is pulling the data from my thing, the same example that I have demonstrated to you. but this is in the form of Python SDKs. Now let me show you one more thing. This is a simple an Azure AI agent example with a simple agent, which is a one-on-one basis. But the real one is where you use the multi agents, right? Where you have an example where the thing is that you'll ask for search information about a specific policy. So here we have developed a complex multi-agent system where you'll have multiple agents like report agent, validation agent. But the thing that I want you to focus on is the orchestrate agent. So this is where this guy will make sure how to coordinate the things between the agents to glue this information and finally give this back to the end user, right? So this orchestrate agent is called one of these popular frameworks that we use called semantic kernel. But I won't be able to talk about it today, so we are almost on time. But this is an example where people just use different agents, and then using the semantic kernel, you can do that. So if we explore these examples from our GitHub repo, all you have to do is again the same concept, right? You will obviously have to, write this Python code. Here I am importing the appropriate packages. And then this is a code to create a search agent. And again, if you see, it's the same concept. In all cases, I have to create an agent, I have to create a thread and run the thread, right? And now this is for the report agent. And this is for the validate agent, which is to make sure that a user has done this. Now, where the semantic kernel comes into play, this is where we are using it, right? So when I run this code, that is what you need to do. So I already uploaded my data. So if you see, this is my local data, right? So I'm just asking a question, something like it. So we have added a lot of debugging in this. So what it does is essentially it is invoking my model, which is already deployed in Azure OpenAI in my subscription. The orchestrator is the one that is kind of interfacing with all these agents, kind of making sure the input information is fully understood and appropriate information has been collected and validated and finally return back to the user. And you can continue to ask more questions because I'm keeping it in an interactive mode, right? So this is an example where customers can develop obviously an enterprise world applications. And then we have a lot of samples too. Please check it out from our GitHub repo. But this is what it will show you where you could develop multiple agents using Azure AI Agent service, and then you will be able to develop that. Now, all in all, if you see here, nowhere you are worried about the backend infrastructure in terms of compute storage and whatnot. All you have to do is you have to specify the right model, right deployment model, the service, and everything. Once you have it, you have this ready, and you are good to go. And that is where you will be developing a lot of complex workflows. So give me a moment. It will be fully generating it, and then it will give you a summary of the report. So it will generate this here, and then if you see it, it will see it. Yeah, actually, I'm done here. So it is giving a different plan confirmation, or it will also be generating this and everything. Okay. The report has been generated, please Northern Health Plan report.md. So that's what it is generated. Okay. So this gives you a information about your plan details and what is in network or not network. So these all retrieved using the data that you already indexed and stored, but the way it's displayed using the generative AI model, which is our GPT-4o, right? So that's pretty much it. I know I'm short of time, but hopefully I was able to give you an overview of the our new feature, which is Azure AI Agent Service. There's a lot of information in our in documentation. I would highly encourage you guys to. This is still in a public preview, but is fully available for customers to check this out. Please take a moment. We also give some samples, code snippets. Like as I said, the first step is create an agent. The second step is a thread, and then finally you run it. Period. Right. So it talks about why do you have to use AI agent service and everything. So that's pretty much it. Uh, Happy to take any questions. Otherwise, Naveed, back to you.
Thanks, Kumar. Any questions, folks? Please unmute your mic or post in the chat window. I know we are a bit over, so thanks for staying. If there are no questions, thank you very much for joining. Thanks, Kumar, for presenting. Really informative session. I learned a lot myself today. So hope to see everybody next week. Hopefully, Kumar will deliver a sequel to this session in the future. Hopefully, see everybody next week for this session of Azure Power Lunch. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye now.